Yeah, dude, I see this 15 million's trending. Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting because it's like, where did all the votes that mysteriously got Biden elected go? And I get it. Some people are gonna say, "Oh man, but the courts, the courts, like all the Trump courts, trying to sue post the 2020 election, and he lost like all of them. What they were about was the vote count, but not the ballot and vote integrity. And that was the big difference that wound up coming out over the past couple of years, and why even Georgia changed its laws about how it records, and that was one reason why Fox News lost its court case against Dominion, is because all the evidence was deleted, so you had nothing to kind of go based off of, except for just the vote machine. But yeah, I mean, if you didn't want Trump, president, going into 2025, then all you had to do was have better vote integrity back in 2020. Then Trump's gone, right? Trump's done. He'd have been done with. All right, for everybody that got cut ahead in time, what I went ahead and did is I just looked up, going back to like 1950, so the 1952 election, 56 Eisenhower, and all the way to our current day. I basically just dropped in who ran, who won, the votes for the winner, the vote for the winner here. And then, for whatever reason, this Wikipedia page, it has all this. It does not have the votes for the loser, which is over here on the left. It has the delta, the difference in the margin. So you have the actual vote numbers. So and the percent turnout on the right. So I went ahead, dumped those over into an Excel. I'll get to that here in a sec. And then I wanted to look up, just the U.S. population, or since going back to the 50s. Luckily enough, I found this one and went back to 1950. I didn't have to go find another thing, so that was kind of nice. And then I also wanted to bring over the current real-time election results, since they're still counting. Might be a little different, as maybe they've updated the numbers. Anyways, I dumped those over into an Excel. So the year, Democrat votes, margin, rep votes, percent turnout, total votes, and population. So population is just a VLOOKUP over here. All the margins had all that data, so I just had to plug over the correct votes and then use the formula, whatever. Anyways, so if you want to see how bad the 2020 election is, we can talk about this green line real quick. This green line is the population, easy, steady uptrend, U.S. population over the past 70 years, roughly. So there's that. So I wanted to just remove that population real quick, but it's still there. I just moved the numbers around over here on the left. Give us a little bit better perspective. So on the right here is the percentage. Now this percentage is related to the percentage turnout. And you can see, for the most part, it's been around 60% there in the 80s and 90s. It actually kind of dropped. Actually, in the 70s, it actually started to drop. So I don't know if there was a change in like voter registration and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it stayed in the 50s for about 2 decades or so, 3 decades, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And then once we got past 2000, it jumped back to about 60%. And that's kind of where it went back to. Anyways, back to where it was in the 50s and 60s is about 60%. The interesting thing is pertaining to 2020, it jumped all the way up to 66.6%. You mean to tell me that many people turned out for an old white man? No, because that was higher than Barack Obama's turnout in 2008, which was 61.6%, which was the highest going all the way back to 1968. So Barack Obama and that election, I believe, against John McCain in 2008, that was the highest turnout it had been in roughly 50 years. Yeah, that was a huge turnout. And then you want to tell me 2020 during COVID and a pandemic had a higher turnout for an old white man that beat the first black president? No way. Not a chance in hell. And then you want to talk about, Democrat votes and Republican votes. I mean, how is it you deviated this far up, which is this orange, all these orange dots? How do you deviate that far high? That makes no sense. And you come back down. There is no way that many people went out to vote for an old white man. This is the party about we present women and people of color. You mean to tell me they motivated that many people with an old white man? They're all about sticking it to the old white man. There is no way that they were able to get that many people. Not a chance in hell. There was definitely some nefarious activities going on in 2020. That should have been investigated more heavily. And if you're talking about total votes, which is the purple line, this kind of continues up, but it gets really highly deviated above basically the trend it has going up in 2020. So yeah, there was definitely some illegitimate stuff going on. Illegitimate stuff. Hey, if you would have let Trump win in 2020, you wouldn't have to deal with him in 2024.